All right, we are recording.
Okay, welcome everyone. Oh my gosh, we are so excited to do this very first webinar in our webinar series. Lacey and I feel really excited about this part of Strong Fit Mama, so we hope you enjoy it as much as we do. And we know a lot of you, most of you will be catching us via the recording, so we are so grateful you're listening to the recording as well. We're going to be doing a Q&A at the end of this live session. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to message us or ask in the community, and we can always answer those there. This link will only be live for 3 days, Lace?
Yep. And so, we will email it to you guys, so you will have the link in your email. And for all of those who signed up for the email, we will make that available in your email account. So that will be there, and like Ali said, it will only be live for 3 days. And for those of you that are not part of the community, like she said, if you have any questions, head to Facebook. It's Strong Fit Mamas, the community, and you can go ahead and ask any questions or anything there. Totally.
Yeah. So cool. Yay. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and get started because we know you are busy moms, and I'd love to know what you're doing with your kids right now. If you're like wrangling them, or if you like put a movie on for them and you're eating your own dinner with us right now, or what. So thank you for being here. We know that it's a big deal. You sacrificed to be here, and we're honored that you would spend your evening with us. So okay, our webinar title is How to Thrive and Not Just Survive Motherhood. And I am just so excited to be here and talk about something that I'm passionate about. And I'm excited and honored, like I said before, that you would trust us and be here with us. So before we dive into our awesome content, I wanted to just give you all a brief introduction telling you kind of who we are and why the heck we're doing what we're doing. Strong Fit Mamas was born about 5 years ago when Lacey and I both have girls the same age, and it was a little bit after our girls were born. And we started it as a like page to keep us accountable for our health and fitness, and it kind of morphed into something awesome, this awesome environment of amazing women like all of you. And we've worked with a new set of 10 to 15 women every month for 5 years. And that's been an incredible experience. We've made awesome friendships. We've learned, we've grown personally. And when you work with that many women on a consistent basis, you begin to see patterns. Okay, and we started to see patterns among these women and among ourselves. Patterns of discomfort and dislike, patterns of self-hate, loss of identity, lack of confidence, anxiety, depression. Feel free to comment if you relate to any of this. Seeing so many women struggle with things that we ourselves have struggled with did two things for us. It united us, right? Because commonalities unite you, and being vulnerable unites you. So it united us for sure, but it also broke our hearts. We felt so sad seeing so many moms, so many women struggle with something that we could relate to because we could feel the pain of it. And over the years, Lacey and I have developed some skills to combat those patterns and to also create new ones. Patterns of self-love and confidence and personal development, mental and emotional growth, and others. And you've heard us speak of these things on lives and stuff like that. And it's our desire and our mission to create an environment where women, especially mothers, can thrive. An environment where they can be where and who God would have them be. Over and over, we see mothers who are run down and tired and lacking an identity, including ourselves. You know, I say that we see that, but we don't just see it in so many of our clients, but we have seen it in ourselves. And we believe so strongly, you guys, that the family itself, that family unit, is the fundamental unit of society. Okay, and to have a successful, happy world and society, the family unit needs to be strong. And so as we strengthen and revive mothers, can you imagine the strength that we give to the world? And so Lacey and I, as we've talked about this, we feel just so passionate and strongly about uplifting and empowering mothers, because there are so many amazing things that mothers can do. Okay, so that's why we do what I do. Okay, so now I remember very clearly sitting on my black Craig's-listed leather couch in our moldy basement apartment with my very first baby, who at the time was 9 months old, and I sat there feeling totally defeated. I had been a mom for 9 months, and it was slapping me in the face that motherhood just was not exactly what I thought it was going to be. I had gone I had just barely graduated from college with my bachelor's. And when I was in school, I was taking 20 plus credits every semester. I was busy, and I felt like I was contributing. I was using my brain. And then I went immediately from graduating to changing diapers all alone because my husband was in school. And I was alone with this baby. And I felt totally lost and a complete lack of identity. And I remember sitting on the couch, crying, and saying out loud to myself, so this is it then? Like, this is who I am. This is what I do. And just being totally overcome with, what's the word? Not grief, but disappointment, I think, with what I was viewing motherhood to be at the time. I just was disappointed because at that moment, motherhood meant that I was nobody and I lacked a purpose or an identity. So now we need to be really clear here and say, which I think you all know, is that we truly believe motherhood is a divine calling, and it's the greatest thing, the greatest purpose that we can fulfill in this life. Like 1,000% yes. But sometimes that solid focus and that deep drive of motherhood leads us to where we are now, and that we feel a lack of identity, if that makes any sense. So I want to know if you can relate to this, to that complete loss of self, and you question who you are and what you even have to offer the world, right? Then you find yourself with 3 or 4 kids, and you find yourself going through the motions, right? You make breakfast, then you make second breakfast, if you're anything like my kids. Then you do laundry, and you put out emotional fires. And if you're lucky, you put out real fires sometimes too. And you make lunch, and you do ABCs, and then you yell, and then you feel guilty, and then you do dinner, and then it's time for bed. And you drown yourself in chocolate chips and Diet Coke and Netflix or Hulu. Okay, you stay up because you don't want to start the day over again tomorrow. And I have literally thought that before, like, oh, I just don't want to go to sleep right now because that means I'm starting a whole new day tomorrow. Let me know, am I just a horrible person, or like, have you had that thought too? I don't know. Lace, have you thought
I've totally thought that. Are you kidding me? Like, I lived years like that. Like, I totally have felt like that. On more levels than one. And for years, I thought that like I was that mom that was in the thick of like, well, when my kids can do this, then it will be better. And when my kids can do that, it will be easier. And when they're finally all in school, or when they can finally make their own food or whatever it may be. And those days came, and being a mom was still hard. Like, it was still hard, and it wasn't any different. And so I too felt like Allie, thinking, really? Like, you hear from so many moms, like, these are the best years of your life. Like, soak it in, because before you know it, they'll be over. And you're like, but this is it? Like, this is what, like, these are the best years of my life? Like, clearly the rest of life is like downhill from here, if these are the best years. I definitely have felt like that. Yes.
And I think we waste a lot of time thinking joy is just around the corner. Like what you were saying, like, oh, once my kid is this old, or once I can do this, or once, A, B, C, or D, then I'll be happy, or then I'll have joy. Then I'll see the joy in motherhood everyone's talking about. And we're losing such precious moments with our kids by always thinking joy's around the corner when joy is right now. It just takes some work to find it. And we're hoping, because that's survival, you guys, that's survival. When you're thinking joy's around the corner and I'll be happy when, that's when you're in survival mode and you're white knuckling this journey and you're surviving, right? You're not thriving or finding joy in the now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm not saying every day is like that. Even now, you guys, even though I have the tools we're going to discuss with you, you still have days like that. Like, that's still going to happen. But having the tools to work through these issues is huge. So huge. Okay, so we saw patterns, okay, negative patterns, and then also good patterns. And we felt the fire to really make a change. So today, we want to offer you our 5 steps, not just surviving, but thriving. So Lacey has the first step.
Yes, definitely. So when Allie and I were talking about wanting to do this webinar series, this was a topic that I felt particularly passionate about because it's, like I said, it's a trap I fell into for years, and I didn't even realize I was in it. Like, I felt like everybody else that was loving motherhood was lying, and was like totally putting on a show so that I'd keep having more babies, or, I felt like I was in this Groundhog Day where it was every day the same old stuff. And I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And so I just needed to keep doing it and didn't realize that there was joy, that you could actually thrive and not just like hang on for the ride of motherhood. And so I felt so passionate about wanting to share this because it's something I wish I would have wrapped my brain around sooner. You hear so many people say there's joy, enjoy it. And I always was like, but how? How does that happen? And so the first thing that we wanted to share with you is why it's important to know the difference between thriving and surviving. And that's something that I wrote down, like, as I was trying to like process this, like what I wanted to share, and, sent it to Allie. And so as we were discussing like who was going to talk about what, she's like, okay, well, you take that. And I'm like, do I know? Like, do I know what the difference is between thriving and surviving? And she's like, well, it was something you wrote down, so probably. And so it's something that I've been pondering on and realizing that understanding what survival looks like and what thriving looks like is different for everybody. Because thriving in motherhood is really dependent upon your personality and what brings you joy and what works for you. I mean, we can see it even in marriages. What works for one couple doesn't always necessarily work for another couple. And it's the same in motherhood. What looks like joy in motherhood to me is going to look different to Allie. But it doesn't mean that one is right and one is wrong. And along those same lines, it's the reason why it's important to be able to identify and define your thriving is because it's also important to identify and define your surviving. Because entering into survival mode is kind of like, have you guys heard kind of that parable, or actually analogy or reality, whatever the right word is if you put frogs in a pot of water and you slowly turn up the heat, they'll boil to death. Like, they won't even realize that it's getting hot. But if you throw a frog into a boiling pot of water, it jumps right out. And I feel like entering into survival mode is like that slow turn up of the heat. It's so easy just to kind of slowly lull ourselves into survival that all of a sudden it's like we're on a roller coaster gripping onto it, like, and life is out of control, or motherhood is out of control. And we're like, how did I get here? And it's because it's so easy to kind of roll into that survival mode without even realizing it, because we're tired and we're emotionally invested in everything. We're busy. We have to be the referee and fix everything for everybody. The job and title of mom is not an easy one. And when we start focusing on the I have to's and I need to's and everybody needs me to do this, that's kind of like turning that heat up on that pot and entering into survival mode without even realizing it. And so that was like the first tip that we wanted to cover and really point out, and something I wish I would have understood earlier, is the importance of really sitting down and either like sitting down and journaling, or talking with a close friend, or with somebody that's a confidant, and really kind of exploring, what does thriving in motherhood look like to you? To me, thriving in motherhood looks like laughing. looks like allowing myself to laugh and not have to be so like structured and making sure I'm teaching everything and making sure everything's okay. And thriving looks like laughter to me, and slowing down and being wholehearted in what I do. That's what thriving looks like to me. Survival looks like running in every different direction. My brain's constantly running, trying to like put out fires everywhere. Now, does that mean I'm not putting out fires every day? Of course not. Like, I have 4 kids. Of course there's going to be fires to put out. But it's important that we define what thriving looks like and what surviving looks like to us, so that when those things start to pop up in survival mode, it's like those little red flags that we realize, oh, okay, hold on. The heat's being turned up and I'm starting to kind of roll over into that survival mode. It's time now to kind of take a veer to the right a little bit and get back on track, so that I don't find myself in the middle of a place I don't want to be. So that is why I think it's so important. And I wish that I would have really like wrapped my brain around that I could define thriving in motherhood for me, and really own that and hold on to it. So I would love to know from you guys, like, go ahead, and if you just logged on, there's the chat bubble. Go ahead and chat to everybody and tell us, like, in a few words, what does thriving in motherhood look like to you? Like, what does that feel like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? Because it's going to be different for all of us. That's the beauty of it, that there's no one right way. So I'm going to give you guys a second to go ahead and just type in there and tell us like what thriving looks like to you, in just a word or two. Okay, let's see. Having fun with your kids, enjoying the days that are long, and making memories. Yes, because the days are long. The days are long and the years are short. That's like so an accurate portrayal of motherhood. So enjoying the days that are long, which isn't always easy to do. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. Being present, not just getting things done. Yes, Penny. Isn't that so hard to do, to like really be present and not constantly be thinking like, I have 14 things to do and then I can slow down? I get stuck in that so often. I love that. Yeah, thriving is being present and not just getting things done. I'm totally loving this, you guys. That's awesome. How about you, Al? Oh, wait, hold on, Sarah. Taking time to actually interact with my kids, not just doing what has to be done. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, work days. Let's see. So now I have 3 hours to do things. That's so hard, Penny, when there's just so much on our plate. But I love that you're focusing on being present when you can, because it totally is about quality, not always quantity. So how about you, Al? What does thriving look like to you?
That is such a great question. You know, you guys, when we divvied up topics, I didn't know what Lacey was going, like her content for her point. And now I'm just like, tell me more. Like, I want to hear what you have to keep saying. And I love that you said laughing. That is definitely one for me. I know that when I am in survival mode, I kind of go numb. Okay. I kind of don't feel like, you all know that there are times like you look at your kids, like just that moment, you look at them and it just fills you. Like it just fills you with so much joy. You can't hardly even contain it. Right. And then there are times that it's like, I mean, you know, obviously they're annoying too, and they make gross noises and smells. And that happens. But I notice when I'm in survival mode, I'm feeling numb. And one of the things that I've taken note of that I do when I'm feeling numb, Lacey talked about red flags. One of my red flags is that I numb myself with my phone. When I find myself that I'm on my phone more, when I'm just scrolling other people's lives on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest, whatever, I am numbing myself. And that's a red flag to me, that I'm in survival mode and that I'm not being present. I'm not laughing. I'm not finding joy with my kids. Now, are phones bad? No. Is scrolling Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram bad? No, it's not. It's just a red flag to me when I realize I'm being sucked in. There's a difference between like looking at Pinterest and numbing with Pinterest. Mm-hmm. And I know you know what I'm talking about, right? Like
totally. That's what like so many of our comments have said, like putting the phone away, you know, yeah. Like that's, you guys are so on point. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. For sure. Oh, I love the comments. Like, that's fun.
Okay, Al, so what's point 2?
Okay, so the second point, now feel free to comment away because I quite enjoy that. Okay, so the second point is why getting lost in motherhood will derail you. Um, I I really feel strongly about this, so I hope you do too. Okay, I think that it's important first, before I jump into motherhood derailing you, that I share my thoughts on motherhood as a whole. Okay, and like I mentioned before, I really truly believe that being mama, like holding that title, is a divine title and calling, and how better to serve the Lord than to raise his children in righteousness. Okay, I feel that in my bones. Okay, but I also think holding that belief is oftentimes what leads us to getting lost in motherhood, because it's so important, and we feel the fire of the importance of motherhood. Um, okay, we laugh with our kids, we cry with our kids, we live through our kids, right? And they're the whole reason that we're here. Okay, so as a mom, I found myself pouring every single part of myself into my children, to the point where when when I would do something for me, I'd feel guilty. Okay, tell me right now if you feel guilty doing things for yourself, like in the comments. Is that something that makes you feel guilty, like taking time out for you? Yes. Okay, good. I'm glad you can relate to that. I was pouring all of myself into my title of mom, that I forgot who Allie was. I forgot who I was. And right now, you guys, like behind my computer, there's this huge 20 by 20 picture of my daughter. And it's like the perfect picture of her. Totally describes like her personality. And she's got these big, bright eyes. And I want for her someday, I want her to know the joy that comes from being a mom. Oh my gosh, I want that so much, because it's something beyond anything else. But it would break my heart if she lost who she was. I see in her eyes who she is, and if she lost that, oh, it'd break my heart, because she has so much to offer. She has so much to give. Just like being a mom is so important. You, who you are, your identity, Allie, Lacey, Sarah, Penny, everyone else who's on here, you have something to give and offer as you, not just your piece of the pie that's mom. Does that make sense? So, okay, as I was thinking about this, I came up with a little analogy. My dad would be so proud, because he's all about it. He's all about analogies. Okay, so mothers, I decided, are like pitchers, okay? Like this awesome, I have got this beautiful white pitcher, because I'm obsessed with white dishes, and it's big and it makes your water really cold. Okay, we have all different types of glasses in front of us that are beautiful, and they're all different. Okay, and our pitcher is full of ice cold water, and it's our job to like fill those glasses. So the pitcher is big, and we we have so much to give and to offer. So when we start offering our water, okay, we offer a steady flow of water for a pretty good amount of time, because it's a big pitcher. My pitcher's pretty big. I should have brought it in and showed you. It's pretty big. It holds a lot of water. So for a long time, actually, I can pour and fill these glasses with a nice steady flow of water, okay? But then as we near the end, okay, of the glasses, the flowing water turns just into a little trickle, you guys, a little tiny trickle. And eventually the pitcher is empty. And I found myself at this point, okay, of emptiness. And I kept trying to pour from my pitcher, and nothing seemed to be coming out. Like I'd bang it like you do the ketchup bottle, right? And nothing's coming out of my pitcher. And so what do? Like I get angry, and I get tired, and I get frustrated, and I start yelling more, and I start numbing myself with my phone, right? And I have so many more glasses to fill, but I have nothing to fill them with. And in order to fill them, I need to actually physically go over to the sink and turn it on and allow myself to be filled. Okay, now I'm sure you've made the analogies and the connections already, but I'm going to reconnect some of those dots for you. We cannot afford to not fill up our pitcher. Okay, if we don't fill up, what happens? Our glasses can't be filled, and our glasses mean everything to us, right? Our glasses are so important. And if we have nothing in our pitcher, how are we going to fill them? And it might take some introspection to remember who you were before kids. Okay, I know it does, from what you liked, what hobbies you had, what made you happy outside of being a mom. Okay, maybe you need to rediscover new things. Okay, so a note on filling your pitcher. There are the typical things we might think of to fill our cup, okay, to fill our pitcher. Okay. Giving yourself a timeout. Okay. Going to the store alone, going to get a manicure, getting your hair done. Okay. Those are great things. Those are great options, giving yourself that time out. Okay. And that's something to do, but that's what it is. It's a timeout. That's it. Okay. That will partially fill our pitchers, but there's something else that will fill our pitchers with cleaner, pure, more abundant amount of water. Okay. And that something is growth, you guys. We can't just check out. We can't just have a timeout and check out. Those things are important. Getting your hair done. I think you should do that, right? Getting away from the house, go shopping alone. Those things should be done. But we cannot just check out of our lives. Okay. Go investing in your mind and your growth will pay dividends in your ability to fill. Okay. Go get a book about vulnerability or mindset or confidence. Okay. Listen to a podcast from moms for moms like this. Okay. It's not a podcast, but okay. Go do something hard. Okay. I loved this one as I was thinking about ideas for growth. Do something hard and challenge yourself. Okay. Run a race. Okay, do a marathon or a 5K. Okay, learn a language, develop a skill. Okay, exercise. Okay, I don't see exercise as a timeout or me checking out because I grow mentally and emotionally when I exercise. There are so many life lessons that I get from fitness. Do something hard that pushes you. And for me, that's like doing a Spartan or training for a half marathon. Those things push my limits, and that's what creates growth for me. It's not just checking out. I'm growing as a person, and it allows me to fill in an even better way than I could if I just checked out or took a time out. Does that make sense, the difference between those two things, like checking out and growing yourself? Like, let me know if that makes any sense at all. I hope it does. Anybody? Lacey, does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, totally. I didn't know that I counted. The thing that I love about what you were talking about with growth is that it was focused on you. It wasn't finding a book about motherhood or how to get your baby to sleep or how to deal with a grumpy teenager, because all of that is super important and it has its spot. But when you're growing for you. And growing for you as an individual, not for you as, like you were saying, as that one mom part.
Right.
And so that's something that I totally, that changed my life too, for sure. That changed everything for me. So I love that. And it looks like everybody, Sarah, Penny, Bethany, everybody's saying totally, yes, totally makes sense, Bethany. Yes, when I do something that makes me a better person, I feel better about myself and I'm more willing to do good things for my family. Totally. I so agree. It like fills you. So like you were saying, you have more to fill for other people with your picture. I love that.
For sure. So you guys don't allow yourself to get to the point where you're getting lost in motherhood. Like we think that we're helping our children or being the best mom by giving all of us to them. But in reality, for me anyway, that's not beneficial at all. And it's a fine line. And I think we play mind games and we compare. Well, this mom's doing this, so I need to do this. Comparison, you guys, seriously, just quit it. Like nothing good comes from comparison in the mom world. In fact, I remember when I was still in high school and Lacey had just had her first baby. She might have even had her second baby because I didn't have any kids when you had Beckham. And I don't know if you remember this, but we were talking on the phone and I was in high school and I just was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till I'm a mom and I can get out of high school and people will stop judging each other and comparing. Like, I just want to get out of that world. And Lacey was like, oh, moms totally compare and judge. I was like, are you serious? Like my mind was blown. I thought that once you became a mom, it'd be like, we've got your back, girl. Like we're in this together. Like it's cool. But you guys, we do ourselves such a disservice by comparing and judging. Like we all know that life is hard. Like just stop comparing yourself and stop judging other moms, right? That's a huge thing. And stop allowing other people's opinions to like affect you. You choose how you react. So anyway, that's a whole different topic. So the next point Lacey has.
Yes, totally. Well, and I think really quick too, in connection with what you were saying is I think it's a real big push that's kind of being talked about a little bit in Instagram right now is if you're following somebody, especially in the social media world, that doesn't uplift you and that you feel like you're having to compare your life to, like, don't follow them.
Right.
Even if they're related to you, like, just don't follow them. It's not worth it, kind of a thing. Cause that's really kind of the day and age that we live in now, is so much of that comparison happens even more on social media than it does on the playground, so just kind of a little tidbit. Okay. So our next point is why it's so important to find your people, like how finding your people helps you thrive. And this is something that I love because it opened a whole new door for me too. I grew up watching my parents. They were best friends, which is awesome. Like, I totally love their marriage and what they did for each other and how they grew, but they never really went out with their individual friends. They didn't really do things as couples, or anything like that. They did everything together. So I grew up just kind of assuming that's what you do. You just do everything with your husband. And there's a spot for that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Date nights are my favorite. And Tuesday afternoons when we have our lunch dates, it's my favorite. Like, I love spending time with my husband. And it's a super important spot for me, for all of us to have that connection with our spouse. But it's also important to have our girlfriends, to have our people that are positive and that are real. Not our people that are going to, when you're we all have those friends that, like, if you're having a bad day and you just want to complain, you can talk to them and they'll just like jump on the bandwagon and complain with you, right? And just kind of like help you dig that hole even more, And then we also have those friends that are like, that will listen and then will help you fill in the hole so we have higher ground to stand on. And it's so important to, that was a good one, huh?
Yeah, I like that.
It's so important to find those people. And this is coming from like the ultimate introvert. I am way more outgoing now than I was growing up. I am a very quiet, shy person. Quiet, shy person. And so talking to people freaks me out. Like, it totally does. It's ridiculous. But I found my girlfriends that helped me stand on higher ground, that allowed me to be open and vulnerable, that allowed me to talk about the realities of motherhood, that allowed me to kind of share, like, this is what I'm struggling with. And I don't know what else to do. And they were there, and they were those people that were like, we've got your back. That allowed me to then go back into my role as mom and stand a little taller and a little stronger and say, I can do this. Like, I've got this. I can raise these little humans, even if I don't think that I can sometimes. So where do we find those people? That's a tricky one. For me, some of my best relationships and my people have come from church and really interacting with those women that I come across with at church. Also at school groups and different things like that. But having that face-to-face interaction, because I mean, we will be the first to say that really deep, important relationships can happen online. And you can find good women, mom friends online. Like, we are the first to say that. But there's something about being face-to-face and heart-to-heart with somebody that allows you to be real and vulnerable and allows you to feel them too. It's just, sometimes words don't need to be spoken when you are face-to-face and heart-to-heart with somebody. And that is what gives you that oomph to keep going, which is so, like, just in connection with what Allie was saying, like, finding those people that are uplifting and cutting out those people that just help you dig that hole. So, Al, how do you find your people?
So yeah, I would just say the same thing actually. Most of my people, my neighbors or church is where I find my people. And my goal for this year has been to have more face-to-face interactions with people. I'm the opposite as Lacey. I was really outgoing as a kid and in my youth, and as a mom, I'm not. Like, I usually will find my way out of social situations because I'm a total homebody. I enjoy being home. I really do. I enjoy being with my husband. I enjoy being with my family. But I realize the older I get, and I just posted about this, the older I get and the older my kids get, I realize the need for a face-to-face connection with other moms, with other people that can relate to me and to what I'm going through. And so my goal this year is to have more face-to-face interactions. And my neighbor just had a little like girls' night with a few of us where we were going to watch a movie and eat crap, right? And I normally would have found my way out of it, but because of my new goal, I went, and you guys, it lifted my soul in a way that I didn't even know I needed so much. I've thought about that evening so many times. We didn't even watch a movie. We talked the whole time. I got home at 1:00 in the morning. It was crazy. I haven't done that in a long time. I go to bed not at 1:00. So, and then another thing that I've done too is I invited someone that I really admire, but our paths don't cross a whole lot, but I invited her over for lunch tomorrow, which is something totally not what I do, but I know that I want to get to know her, and I know I want to be her people, right? And I want her to be my people. And so I've had to be vulnerable and take that first step. It's like dating, and ask her to come over for lunch, so we can talk. And I asked her to share her story with me. And that's hard to do, but it's so incredibly rewarding. So yeah, I encourage that for sure.
And I think that that's something, just kind of like going back to the beginning and going full circle, is that is something that allows us when we're starting to find those like survival mode moments, because the survival mode is always going to be our natural default. It's always going to come no matter how old our kids are, no matter what phase of life we're in, no matter how well or not well things are going. That survival mode is always going to be there, and it's easy to default into that. But having those women and having those people is what allows us to kind of like recenter again. And to say, okay, like I'm going to kind of like shake off this, whatever I've kind of piled into my bucket, and I'm going to realign, and I'm going to refocus, and I can do this, So I love that. Allie, somebody just said, amen. That's me. I'm her neighbor, and they didn't eat any of my healthy crap.
Lindsay.
That's
I
awesome.
didn't even know you were here, Lindsay. Okay. So just so you guys know, Lindsay specially made for me 21-day fix approved snacks. And then she brought them over to me after. It was really sweet.
That's awesome.
I'm glad you're on here, Lindsay, because I know I've told you how much that like lifted me, but it really, I'm so glad that you did that. And she and I have talked about this already, that how we both are seeking this, like this group of fierce women who are, I don't know, who will stand up and have our same morals and standards, and that we can just like stick to. I don't even know how to describe it, but you know what I mean, right? Yeah. Okay. When you stick in your head, she gets it. So anyway, I love that she did that. I'm so glad you're here, Lindsay. Yay. Okay.
Okay. Give us our last tip, Al.
Okay. Actually, this is our second to last tip.
Oh, that's right. Because I threw in an extra one.
No, we have the service one still.
Huh?
We have the service one still.
Isn't that what you're doing right now?
No, I'm doing how to infuse the winds.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, look at us. We're just a wealth of knowledge.
I know. Which I can also do the service one if you want. So,
Continue.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. So how to infuse the winds. Okay. At 7:44. So we're not going to keep you too much longer. Okay. In the past, I've called this particular topic honoring the winds. Okay. But for this webinar, I really wanted to refer to it as infusing the winds. If you think about diffusing oils, okay, that can give you a visual that I want you to have right now. When we diffuse oils, it really like permeates the space, right? Like we can walk into a room and be like, someone's diffusing oils. Like we know it right away, right? Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely the dominant scent when you walk into a room. So when we infuse our winds, we bring them in, and we allow them to permeate us. Okay, the winds are the dominant scent. Okay, so the dominant thoughts that we have, okay, whatever you infuse will be the dominant. So if you're infusing negativity, that will be the dominant. Okay, and it's easier, just like Lacey said, our default is survival mode. Okay, our default, I feel at times, is negativity. Okay, it's easier to infuse negativity because there's less resistance. It just happens, okay? That's why infusing the winds needs to be a deliberate act, like a deliberate practice that you take part in. Okay, so can you relate to that? To like all this, you're being negative and it just like dominoes, like it's your default mode. At least that's how it is for me. Okay, we go through the day like a chicken with our heads cut off, right? We have a to-do list a mile long. We barely have time to sit. And by the end of the day, we lay down in bed and we ask ourselves, what the heck did I even get done today? Like, what? I was so busy, but what did I even really do? Okay, or when your husband asks what you did that day, you like stutter over some things because like there's not one big thing that you did, but somehow it took all your energy that entire day, right? So this is when we start infusing the wins. We start implementing that practice. We look over our day and we don't just check things off the list. Okay, that's what we do as moms. Like we make our list and then boom, we check them off, check them off, check them off. But you guys, by just checking them off and getting them done and not thinking about them, we're not infusing. We're not allowing it to permeate. Okay, we need to allow those small wins to become part of us. Okay, we take time to think about what we did right and what we did good. And we honor those wins throughout the day by allowing them to fill us up. Okay, I'm going to give you a really stupid example. So when I first heard of this concept of honoring the wins, I loved it. Like I totally was like, oh my gosh, I need this in my life. Okay, so the next day it was fall. And so I was canning peaches and it takes forever, right? So I'm like for days, it took me like 3 days to like can these peaches and these pears. And so when I was done, I was putting them in the cupboard and I wiped up the huge mess and I like go wash my face to get ready for bed. And then I remember this concept of honoring the wins, okay? And reflecting on what you did that day that was good, okay? And not just checking it off the dang list. And so I went over and I opened up the beautiful hutch that I have and I looked at all of my perfectly stacked cans of peaches that were untouched or opened and I stared at them for like 5 minutes, you guys. And I thought about when my kids would be eating them in the winter. And I thought about picking them from the orchard. And I thought about the hard work that it took to can them and how glad I was that I did that. And I took time to really honor the work. We do so much work as women and as mothers. We do so much work. And you need to honor the hard work by allowing yourself to infuse the wins. Does that make sense, that concept? Not just check it off the list. And I even took a picture of my peaches and sent it to my mom so she could tell me how awesome I was, right? Because we need that. Like we need that boost. So that's a really stupid example, but it's a practice that I've implemented, honoring those wins that have made a huge, huge difference in my life. So take a time of day, whether it's the morning or the night as you're reflecting, don't just think about the things you didn't get done. Okay, think about what you did do and honor the work by infusing those wins. So
really quick, what I want you guys to do is super fast in the comments, just type one thing. What was your win today? One win. I'm sure there was multiple wins, but what was one win for today? Just go ahead and type it in there. Let's see, Sarah, I keep people alive every day. Yes, this is a bigger deal than it flippantly sounds, but some of my people have been literally starving. So yes, I love it. Sky, I went to the gym. Yes, Wendy, moving, done. Yeah, woohoo! Moving's just awful. You've been rocking that out, girlfriend. Penny, baths for kids are done. Love it. You guys, love it. And I love how Allie talked about infusing it, like breathe it in. So tonight, let's see, go cook dinner. Got to work out. Yes. So tonight, what I want you to do when your head hits that pillow is I want you to own that win. Breathe it in, feel it, own it, and celebrate it. Like own it. That's awesome that you got that done. Forget about what you got to do tomorrow. You can worry about that tomorrow. Own what you've done. I love that tip, Allie. Perfect. Oh, Christina, clean the kitchen. Yes. Love it.
And I love that you guys have listed them. And I want to make sure it doesn't just stay in the list. Like we asked you a question and you responded, but infusing the wins takes longer than just listing it out. Not long, like 30 seconds, right? But really taking that time, like Lacey said, before you go to sleep to infuse it and let it become a part of you. So yay, I love this. Good job. Okay, good job. You
Totally. I love it. Okay, Al, I want for the last one, I want you to share with them and talk about how service really allows us to be in thriving mode and not survival mode, because when we talked about it last night, I really loved like the example that you shared and how you explained what was on your heart with that. Will you do that one?
Yes. Okay. So when we were putting together this list of the 5 steps, okay, I'll go fast. Okay. Stay focused, Ellie. I know thank you for staying as long as you have. I really thought that we needed to put service on the list. When you're thriving in my life, when I'm thriving, I am serving. And now I know you're thinking, Allie, what the heck? Like, all I do is serve people. All I do is serve these kids and my husband and run this household. Like, that's all I do. I'm sick of serving people. Okay. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your family. Okay. I am talking about your circle of influence, which includes your family, but it extends beyond your family to wherever you go. Imagine you like walking down the street and your circle of influence like permeates from you. And so when you're in the grocery store or when you're online even, or, where you're at work, whatever, that circle of influence, like you are in charge of that. I totally 1000% believe that we are here to uplift and help and empower one another. And if we're so focused on our own lives that we can't look out and see how to lift other people, we are going to be in survival mode. My mom always told us that our eyes were made to look out. They're designed to look out. We can't even see ourselves unless we're looking in a mirror or we see our reflection. Our eyes are designed to look out. Okay, now I'm going to read a scripture to you. In Luke 9:24, it says, "For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it." And I love that scripture because, you guys, service is quite the paradox, okay? Totally. It's totally a paradox, because even when you feel like you have nothing else to give, when you lift someone who can't lift themselves, it fills you beyond your measure of emptiness. In order to really lift people, you need to be in tune. Okay. And now I am religious, and you guys know that, so I'm not even going to like tiptoe my way around this. I totally believe that the Spirit is going to guide you on how to serve and uplift those around you within your circle of influence, because that's your circle. You're in charge of your circle. And so as you're in tune with the Spirit, you'll receive whisperings on how you can lift and empower and serve those around you, okay? We have our own little family that we serve day in and day out, and that's so great, and we're blessed because of that. But we've got to focus on our sphere that goes beyond that. So I wanted to give you guys some ideas. So if you go to justserve.org, okay, I'm going to type it in here. justserve.org. That was cool. Let me pull back my notes up. Okay, if you go to justserve.org, okay, you can find ways to serve your community. So not even like ideas that I'm going to give you in just a minute, but ways in your specific community that you and your family can go serve together. Isn't that amazing? It's so awesome. Cool. You should go there and look at it. Okay, so some little ways that you can serve within your circle of influence day to day. Something that I love doing, that I always do, is I always talk to my cashier. I love talking to my cashier, and they sometimes think I'm crazy, but for the most part, they're pretty receptive of conversation, okay? And I ask them like where they're from, how long have they been here, and get to know them within that 5 minutes that I'm with them, and try to leave them with a positive feeling. I'm not talking you move mountains for them, okay? Sometimes we think service means moving mountains for people, and that's not true. Serving people, you guys, is just leaving a positive wake, giving a positive influence within your sphere, okay? And that doesn't happen when we shut down and we're quiet and we don't make eye contact and we don't talk to people. Serving happens when you open your mouth and when you let your spiritual ears hear the whisperings of the Spirit to know how you can uplift and serve those around you. And service is that paradox, you guys. I know that's the last thing you want to do, but when you're empty and you have nothing else to give, if you open your eyes and see how you can lift other people that cannot lift themselves, You guys, it lifts you beyond your emptiness. I promise you that. So, okay, so that is the last tip, unless, did you have the bonus tip?
Yeah, I wanted to throw one other in there, but also in connection to that, you guys, Allie is master at that. Like, she is so good at talking to people sincerely. And I am not good at that. So I've had to kind of scale it back a little bit. I'm working on stepping outside of my comfort zone. But something like even like smaller, but yet still impactful is just smiling. Like how many of us are stuck looking at our phones when we're going places, or smiling or waving at the neighbor when they drive by, or, when you are walking away from a cashier, looking at their name tag and just saying, thank you, and using their name. There's so many little tiny things that we think are insignificant, but yet are so powerful. And our mom always used to say, service truly ends up serving the server. It lifts both of you. So I love that, Al. So I know that we said 5 tips, but one other one that I just feel like I really want to be able to share, and something that I've seen over these years over and over and over and over, and that's the number one mistake that women make that pushes them into survival mode. I've seen it time and time again in other people. I've seen it in myself. And I would dare say the number one thing that women do that push them right into survival mode is they stop taking care of themselves. And in connection to like what Allie was saying, we feel guilty taking time for ourselves. And that is Satan. Like that is the adversary convincing you that you are not important. For some reason, we tell ourselves that, once everybody else is taken care of, then I'll take time for myself. Or, once A, B, and C is done, then maybe I'll have time for me. And we just put ourselves on the back burner over and over and over because we know there's never an end to our to-do list. And so eventually we're not even on the back burner. We're pushed off the stove completely. And so that so quickly turns up that heat on that pot and pushes us right into survival mode. And we don't know how we got there, and we don't know how to get out. And taking care of yourself looks different for everybody, whether it's, exercise and nutrition, whether it's finding a hobby, whether it's finding your group of people, it looks different for everybody. That's once again goes right back to the beginning of defining what thriving looks like for you, and then taking time to do it. Because really, honestly, the greatest thing you can give your family is a healthy you, whether that be a physically healthy you, a mentally healthy you, emotionally healthy you, whatever it is, whatever that looks like. That is the greatest thing you can give your family, because then that encourages your children to do the same thing for themselves. And how many of us don't want positive, happy, fulfilled children? And so that is like the ultimate number one mistake that I see other women make, that I've seen myself make, and that is not taking time to take care of you. So that is what we wanted to share with you guys today. Those are the pitfalls that we've seen time and time again. We want to open it up to you guys to ask your questions, to share your experiences, to whatever it is, whether it's regarding what we've talked about or not. We're here. We want to share with you guys. We also wanted to share with you guys, I'm sure many of you have heard about the event that we are hosting. And really that has been created because of what we've been talking about. We wanted to provide women with an opportunity to take care of themselves, to escape the chaos for just like a hot minute, and to realign, to find their people, to be face to face and heart to heart with other women that are in the trenches too. For those of us with older kids to learn from those with younger kids, and those with younger to learn from older, and those that, are empty nesters or that aren't moms yet, or wherever we're at on our journey, we all have something to give and something to receive. And that is what we wanted to do, is we wanted to provide you with an environment where you can learn, where you can be edified, where you can be filled, where you can relax, where you can laugh, where you can find you again. Because we all at one point or another lose ourselves in motherhood. We all at one point or another find ourselves in the middle of survival mode. We all at one point or another find ourselves thinking, who are my people? Who is my person? Where are they? How can I connect with them? We all at one point or another find ourselves thinking, I know I need to give, but where do I start? And we're going to be addressing every single one of those things at the event. We are, as well as our incredible speakers that we have coming. We have authors. We have people that are mental. So we talk about mental health and for you and for your children. We have people that are entrepreneurs that have podcasts that have, these women are amazing. And they have incredible things to share with each and every single one of us. And it's going to be directly related to what we've been talking about tonight. So that is something that we do have. It's going to be in March. We are doing it in Vegas. We felt like we wanted to give you a warm place to come escape the cold winter blues and come enjoy the warm weather and have an easy place to get into. Like I said, it is in March 15th to the 17th, right, Al?
Yep.
And you can find it on strongfitmamas.com. We'll also post the link in the email that we send to you. But really and honestly, this is like the ultimate thing you can do to take care of yourself, and something I wish I would have done for myself when my kids were little and as they grew, and even now. Like, I cannot wait to have my pitcher filled so I am ready to jump back into the trenches as summer is right around the corner after the event. And we all know that once summer's here, it's a whole new ballgame.
We thought too, that Vegas it's one of the cheaper airports to fly into. We also have like a discounted rate at the hotel that we're staying at. And we're having an activity every day, like outside of the speakers. And the one I'm most excited about is our service activity, which is going to be awesome, because we figured if we have 200 women, like, what better thing can we do than to serve? Okay, so we are going to have an awesome service activity for us all to do together, as well as super fun workouts in the morning. Don't log off because I said workout. They're going to be fun. I promise they're going to be fun. And then a marketplace boutique every day to shop. And it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be so fun. So fun. Oh, Bethany just posted the link right there in the comments too, if you guys want it. Is this an annual thing? Hope so. We're planning on it. We'll see how this year goes. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what next year brings, and we'll always be in Vegas. I don't know.
So come this year, and then that will give us a good idea about next year. So just make sure you come this year.
Totally. Awesome. Okay, so what questions do you guys have? Do you have anything you want to ask, anything you want to add, whether it's related to this or not? And we will do our best to answer it.
What other topics you'd like to see us do webinars about too?
Totally. Let's see, Sarah. Thanks for the tips, ladies. Some of these are easier than others right now. Amen. But I appreciate hearing them all together. It helps me know where I need to put my focus. I totally agree. Some are like, oh yeah, I got that. And others are like, you want me to do what? Are you kidding me right now? Like, let me go like dry heap for a minute. I can't do that. Yes, I love that, Sarah. Totally agree. Let's see.
That's a cute picture, Sky, that you have on your like tile. Your cute little family.
Totally. Let's see. She said, thank you. Okay, Wendy, sorry I was a bit late. I think that it's a great idea on a way to connect with moms and ladies. Totally. Wendy's coming. I'm so excited that I get to see Wendy at the event. Woohoo!
Hey, that's exciting.
I know. I can't wait. I'm so excited. So yes, it's going to be like, you are going to leave, like, you can come with friends. We suggest coming with friends, but you are also going to leave with some amazing friends. Like, it's going to be awesome. I'm so dang excited. I cannot wait. Cool. Okay. So we don't want to like cut you guys off, but we also don't want to keep you too long. So if there's anything else, let me know. Let's see. I wish I could come to the event. Sounds like a great way to meet others, which I struggle with so much. Yes, it will be like a safe place to come meet women for sure. For sure. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, don't forget, you can find us in the Strong Fit Mama community. We'll be posting more in there when the next, what are they called? What are these? Webinars. When the other webinars are ready to go. We'll also be emailing you your link to this recording that will be live for 3 days. And also don't forget that you got a t-shirt code Is that still alive? Al?
Yeah.
It's till tonight.
Is it Bethany?
Yeah. You have your discount code for your t-shirt if you want to go to strongfitmamas.com and get a discounted t-shirt. That will be live until tonight. So yes, Thrive 5 is the code for 20% off. Thrive 5.
If you liked this webinar, if you got something out of it, please feel free to share it, or can we post a link to this on Strong Fit Mamas so that it will be active for 3 days? Please share it. The best way to spread things is word of mouth. So we would just love if you would share the webinar or the event or
the community or anything.
Anything.
Anything. All right, you guys have a great night, and thank you again for coming. It was so great to be able to talk to you guys, and we'll see you in the community.
Bye.
Bye.